Greetings nerdy list aficionados, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd, and it's time for more powers, this time on the villainous side of things. Now when it comes to villains in general, there is more understanding, because so much of the plot revolves around undoing their dastardly deeds. So the heroes will stand around and be like, so this is what they're doing, and here's how we're gonna stop it. At least if they're coordinated, that's what they do. As mentioned in the last one of these I did, which was part 1, Kelly did part 2, you may understand all of these, but some of these characters, based on how their powers are implemented in stories or what era you're in, it can at times get a bit perplexing. If you know all of these, celebrate your nerd cred. If not, I hope you learn a little something new. I'm Sasha, and let's get started. Number 10, Mr. Mxyzptlk. Now I spent some time practicing how to say this, and I ended up going with the Superman animated series Gilbert Gottfried pronunciation. So this little imp from the 5th dimension first debuted in Superman number 30 in 1944. He's a being who comes over to our dimension to torment Superman, and he can only be vanquished if Superman can trick him into saying his name backwards, which I'm not going to attempt, so it's a good thing I'm not Superman. Now his year of creation places him smack dab in the Golden Age, right before the superhero crash, but he would return again in the Silver Age and has been utilized ever since. Over time his nature has changed based on the writer, from good-hearted trickster to malicious spirit, and back and forth. But okay, his powers, what can he do? Well, this is a question of what can't he do, as very well exemplified by the Emperor Joker storyline, wherein the Joker manages to get his hands on his powers and completely remake the universe. So basically, Mr. Only Consonants in his name has an unlimited power source, and he can warp reality in any way he can imagine. Now how he does this varies. Sometimes it's just because he comes from the 5th dimension, and their reality is so beyond ours in comparison that it makes him seem godlike. Other times it's using their advanced tech, but it's usually the dimension-based perks. Also, he needs no sustenance. In the 5th dimension, no sleeping or eating. No wonder he has so much free time to torment Superman. I tried, I legit practiced, and I'm still just like blah, 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 blah. Number 9. Dr. Light. Dr. Light, the first one, Arthur Light, even though it was retconned that he was the second one, even though he appeared first, comics. He first appeared in Justice League of America number 12 back in 1962, and at first he was a fairly standard villain. He would fight the Teen Titans a lot and use light manipulation. The thing that vacillates with him is what type of villain he is. I mean, back when they used him. His character was essentially ruined in Identity Crisis when he was suddenly turned into a rapist, and now a lot of writers don't even want to touch him. So back to his powers. How exactly does he use light? Well, he bends light around him and can generate energy blasts with them, and also force fields, and by manipulating light correctly he can fly. He can also create complete darkness, which is a handy trick, and I'm sure catches some by surprise because of his name. That's the way. Always keep him guessing. He used to need tech, but now he doesn't because, well, changes. Now what people aren't sure of is what's his upper limit. How much light can he harness and control, and where can he get it from? And the answer is wherever the writers want. That's the thing with light-based powers. These ones can vary a lot. Sometimes they'll be really ineffectual, and other times they'll be all-encompassing. Number 8. The Clock King. That's right, the Clock King is on this list. Not the first one though, so Tem, the second one. The first Clock King was just a very punctual person. His power was being super anal, and I can respect that. But he's a villain that often gets forgotten. Now the second Clock King was a temporal anomaly, an actual anomaly, but he wore the old Clock King costume. I'm not sure why, because it wasn't that great. He feeds on people's energy to maintain his youth. I don't know, I just feel there is so much potential for the Clock King based on his name. Yeah, there's not much here, I just want to talk about the Clock King. I mean, no one else does. Poor Clock King. He's a king. Number 7. Dr. Doom. Now some of you may be like, Dr. Doom? Come on, I know everything there is to know about Dr. Doom. Well, we'll see. Now Dr. Doom debuted in the Fantastic Four number 5 back in 1962. Here's the thing, Dr. Doom is a genius and well versed in science, which people remember, but he's also skilled in sorcery, because he has none of that drama about, oh no, science versus magic. No, he's like, both exist and I will master both, for I am Doom. He was also taught by aliens in the art of being able to psionically transfer his consciousness into another with eye contact. And of course then there's his armor. It's ridiculously augmented. It augments his strength, stores energy, food, water, just all of it. Oh, also he has diplomatic immunity. That's kind of a power, and Doom definitely uses it that way. Number 6. The Juggernaut. Now when people think of the Juggernaut, many will think of the memes, the glorious Juggernaut memes. The Juggernaut first appeared in the X-Men number 12 back in 1965, and many forget that he got his powers from the Cyttorak gem, which has empowered him with magical abilities and strength. He is an immortal avatar for that entity. He can generate a mystical force field, which makes him him not invulnerable to physical damage at least. The helmet is for something else entirely. That's to protect him from psychic attacks, especially from his stepbrother Charles. That's right, Charles Xavier. Over time, he has gained more and more access to the gem's powers, so watch out. Number 5, the Psycho Pirate. That's right, the Psycho Pirate is getting airtime, just like the Clock King. Reppin' the B Squad, or rather, the D Squad. Harsh, some people are gonna be so mad, they're like, how dare you, they're the A Squad. We're gonna be talking about the second Psycho Pirate, Roger Hayden, who first debuted in Showcase number 56 in 1965. The Psycho Pirate played a pivotal role in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and Animal Man after, as well as some minor appearances here and there thanks to him being the only one to remember the universes as it was before the Crisis. But in the modern era, i.e. Rebirth and beyond, he has played a more average role. So the Psycho Pirate uses his Medusa mask to project emotions at people, in a form of offense-based empathy. He can also intensify emotions people are already feeling. Even if they are just little kernels of say hate or jealousy, he can fan them into full-blown flames. For a time in the 90s, he was a psychic vampire feeding off the energy of others. And finally, post New 52, he is a psychic who can manipulate people's emotions, so essentially the same deal but no need for a magic mask. Just psychic powers, far more plausible. Except scratch that, he still wears the mask, it just now boosts his latent abilities. I swear sometimes the New 52 just change things to change things. Number 4, the Blob. The Blob first debuted in the X-Men number 3 back in 1964, so he's a classic villain. Now at first glance, some of you may be like, I got this. Huge mass, so he's dense and hard to hurt, but it goes beyond that. He has elastic skin that is harder to penetrate, though it's not impossible, and he is resistant to projectiles like guns, and in some extreme cases has even bounced small missiles off of himself. An ability that doesn't get a lot of airtime though is his ability to manipulate his personal monodirectional gravity field, which can make him pretty much immovable, and the only person who's moved him when he's like this is the Hulk. And by that I mean like outright lift. Other people have found other ways, they've levied pulleys, levers, physics. He's also actually very fast and agile, so don't judge a book by its cover. His powers were gone, but they're back now, so don't worry about it. Number 3, PARALLAX, or as I like to call him, the we need to make Hal Jordan sympathetic again plot device. So PARALLAX first appeared as Hal Jordan in Green Lantern Volume 3 number 50 in 1994. This was Hal's evil persona after he snapped after the destruction of Coast City and killed the Core, snapped Sinestro's neck, the whole thing. Sinestro got better, by the way. However, when Hal Jordan was brought back to life, PARALLAX was revamped to be an evil entity, the manifestation of the yellow fear and purity. This was what initially had caused Lanterns, Green Lanterns, to have the vulnerability to the color yellow. This way, it wasn't Hal's fault, he was possessed. So the PARALLAX entity, aside from being able to possess a host and amplify their desire to cause fear, can also cast fear. PARALLAX can create both green and yellow objects or creatures. It is also made of pure energy. PARALLAX also has been shown to be able to be forced out of the person it is attempting to possess, if that person has enough will or is sociopathic enough to just not feel fear. Number 2, Ruby Thursday. She's on here because her very appearance just raises so many questions. How does she live? So Ruby's head has been replaced with a mass of organic circuitry that manifests as a red sphere. She first appeared in the Defenders number 32 back in 1976, and she can shape this head into various shapes and manifest tentacles, fire projectiles, create energy blasts, and get this, she doesn't even need the head to be attached to live. It can be over there and still control her body. The fact that she lives at all is amazing to me. Really, people just enjoy the visual of this character. Well, some people. Others think it's silly or at worst sexist. I fall in the silly category, but if I'll suspend my disbelief for so many other things, I'll do it for a computer head. And number 1, Proteus. I feel like Proteus earns the number 1 spot in most lists he's on just from the sheer terror factor. He's too powerful. Proteus first went by the name Mutant X and debuted in Uncanny X-Men number 125 in 1979. The son of longtime X-Men ally Moira McTaggart, his powers manifested from a young age, and so she locked him away for his own safety and also that of others. More so than that of others, to be honest. Proteus is a being of pure energy who hops from host to host and uses up their bodies in the process. Even though he doesn't have to, he could leave beforehand, but he doesn't. His psionic abilities are incredibly powerful, and he can alter and warp reality on a grand scale, or just for an individual, like what he did to poor Wolverine, turning him into liquid, and then Cyclops threw coffee on him to snap him out of his trauma. Side note, I like Cyclops, and I don't care what anyone says. Proteus also has perfect recall, and on top of all this, he is pretty much immortal as he is made of pure energy. The use of this energy is what burns out the bodies, by the way. All that physics, reality warping, and gravity bending. Oh, he can also possess multiple people at once, like Karma, and transport interdimensionally. It's a lot. Too much even. I don't want to be warped into liquid. He's dispersed in the astral plane right now, but I don't trust it. He'll be back. So those were some supervillains with powers that not everyone understands. Who's a villain with powers that perplex you? Or a villain with powers you would just like to get a better feel for or see implemented better? Share all your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching Top 10 Nerd. We always love having you here. Please share, comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'm Sasha and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.